welcome to America 2.0. I'd like to talk to you about an article from The Telegraph. I've found several sources on this. This is confirmed. Saudi Arabia is building a great wall to shield their northern and southern border. Northern, I believe, is where ISIS or the Islamic State is already at, and they're pushing south to Mecca, Medina, where the two holiest of mosques are in the whole Muslim world, and Saudi Arabia is dreadfully afraid that they are going to destroy those holy sites of Islam. Let me go into this. Middle Eastern Kingdom building 600-mile wall and ditch along its border with Iraq in effort to insulate itself from chaos engulfing its neighbors. So this is kind of short. I'll just go ahead and read this to you. This was by Richard Spencer, Middle Eastern correspondent, January 14th, 2015. When a raiding party from Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant attacked a Saudi border post last week, it was no mere hit on the desert outpost. I reported this. You might want to look at it. I think it's ISIS attacked Saudi Arabia, something like that. It's on the website. The jihadists were launching an assault on the new highest profile effort by Saudi Arabia to insulate itself from its chaos engulfing neighbors. Saudis are building a 600-mile long Great Wall. The proposal had been discussed in 2006, but it had been waited on, and it began September of 2014, with ISIS's interest being in Saudi Arabia. And it says much of the west and north of the country gave it to substantial land border with the kingdom to the south being the area they want protected the most. Border zone now includes 5 layers of fencing with watchtowers, night vision cameras, radar cameras. There are 30,000 troops stationed along the 600-mile area, which, if I quickly do the math, get my calculator up, and this is what I love about these live ones, I can do this. We have 30,000 divide by 600, and that is 50 people to guard every square mile. So 50 people to guard every square mile is, I'd say that's probably pretty good. It's not only a fence with which Saudi Arabia has chosen to surround itself despite its difficulty in access Westerners. The country is relatively open to fellow Muslim nations, particularly during the Hajj season, when pilgrims across the world come to Mecca and Medina. On this website, The Telegraph, it shows, this is why I like doing them live. I can actually talk about what I see. Funeral of 3 Saudi guards who were killed in the attack last week. However, that is changing times. It's created a physical barrier along parts of that are even longer than 1,000-mile border with Yemen. It's creating that areas that are longer than the 1,000-mile border with Yemen to the south. So if you really think about what's happening, is they're closing in the borders from the north and from the south. They can concentrate their troops, in the middle. In the middle. So this is Saudi Arabia's response to getting attacked. And I don't know about you, but borders are great, but these guys have tanks and aircraft now. I don't know how long the efforts are going to last, but You know, Saudi wants to spend the money on the defense. They can go ahead and do that. I'm not so sure a wall is such a great idea. Just remember all the stories of the ancient world and near ancient world. Whenever you devote project money to that kind of defense project, nothing good comes from it. China's first emperor went completely bankrupt. His entire empire fell apart because he was so committed to building the Great Wall, which was even historically never completed. Uh, what is it? The Hadrian's Wall in I forget the area of the United Kingdom, but Hadrian's Wall project was the reason that that area of the world went under. This is not a good thing. When you build big wall posts and everything, it takes a lot of resources, a lot of people, and the more and more I look at these stories, the more and more I see stuff like the fall of Rome, and how now, instead of having one country doing everything, you have all these little countries doing one little project at a time. And basically, it's a repeat of history. It's what do you do when you're surrounded by your enemies? You dig in and prepare for a fight, one way or another, as best you can. Now, what I wish Saudi Arabia would do is just go on the offensive. Unfortunately, the, the other neighbors probably aren't as sorry. The other nations aren't as welcome with Saudi and everything else. Not to mention that ISIS is a growing force. It is a threat to the region, and now they're walling themselves in. I'm not sure that would be such a great idea. I'd be talking to well, Saudi Arabia's not. I'd be talking to sorry, United Nations, and I'd be getting a coalition together to go get these guys. But that's the thing; they don't want these guys to be gotten. If they wanted these guys to be gotten, there would be an international notice for basically uh, a foreign force like the French Foreign Legion to be assembled to fight against these guys. They would pull 5,000, 8,000, 12,000 people from every UN and NATO country that can spare the populace. They'd train them and they'd send them in. Wouldn't be any, and that would be it. But America and the whole world hasn't reached a point where it can succeed in this because they don't look at the average person as a person who should have arms, who should be dealing in combat and combatant roles, just police and military who already exist. And that's bullshit. You have a population to defend your nation and to push off aggressors of domestic or foreign capabilities. And if they be domestic, point them out and let the police and the military handle them. But if they be foreign, use your citizens. Don't use your police and your military. But that's alright. They're going to build the wall. I've seen pictures. The wall looks nice. It has a bunch of vehicles and basically anything you can think of outside a wall and outposts and everything. And I said that when you do the math, 30,000 into 600 is 50. And there are 50 soldiers per every square mile. So Saudi Arabia should be able to repel just about any attack, given weapon systems and anything else they can get to. So this is America 2.0 from using an article from the Telegraph. Saudi Arabia's Great Wall to keep out ISIL.